Greetings, fellow RotoBallers. All of your lineup questions can be answered by utilizing the RotoBaller rankings, and Dave and I are going to bring some highlights and some surprises heading into week 2.
Joey, let's start with quarterback. Right at the top, you'll see a name that didn't crack our top 5 too often last year, but after a dominant week 1 performance and the help of some guy named AJ freaking Brown,
Ooh.
Jalen Hurts has made it, Joe. Roto's QB5. We think the train keeps rolling at home versus the Vikes.
And also rounding out our top 4 quarterback look, you're going to see a lot of usual suspects. You got your Josh Allen, Patrick 5 Tutty Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. But if you were to zoom out of the top 9, you would not find the name Joe Burrow because we have him at QB 10 this week. Look, the Bengals, the O-line does not look great after week 1. Not a lot of signs of improving, and they're going to be in Dallas this week. How many points are they going to actually have to score against the Cooper Rush offense? I think we're going to say Derek Carr goes 2 spots ahead of Mr. Cool Joe this week.
At tight end, Joey, we left George Kittle out of our
Ouch.
top 5. Shots fired. But the big 4 is still the same. Andrews, Kelsey, Pitts, and Waller. But the biggest riser, Joey, Dallas Goedert sneaks into our top 5 as our 5th ranked tight end this week. Let's just say it hurts so good if you have an Eagle on your fantasy team. Joe, who sticks out to you at tight end?
Dallas Goedert's a great riser. Paul Reiser, another great riser, too, as well right now in our modern age. Well, look, I think we've already said the name Cooper Rush enough times. I'd rather just say Cooper Kupp at this point. So I'm going to avoid Dalton Schultz this week altogether. We've got him as a tight end 7, and I'm going to roll with Dawson Knox. Now, despite a quiet week 1, and when I say quiet, I mean, was he even out there? I'm going to roll with Dawson Knox this week. I think he remains in our top 10 as a tight end 10. And look, even though they let my boy O.J. Howard walk, I still think they want Knox to be a big factor in the red zone. So we say keep plugging him in. Dave, now on to wide receivers. Who cracked your top 5 for week 2?
Top 5, Joey. Nay, I say top 3.
Ooh, go to the
Devontae
cream.
Adams. Yes, he's claimed his rightful spot back atop the ranks after showing us that no matter who his QB is, he will still continue to be a target hog and continue to leave DBs on ice skates. He nasty, Joe.
He's so nasty. And look, there's a couple other wide receivers who have snuck their way into the top 9 this week. We mentioned A.J. freaking Brown. He's our wide receiver 6. But I like seeing both Mikes in the top 10. That is Mr. Michael Pittman at wide receiver 8. And we think the Colts have their way with Jacksonville in that game. And Mike Evans comes in at wide receiver 9. Look, no Godwin, possibly no Russell Gage. The ball's got to go to Mike Evans on that one. And finally, Dave, it's time for our running back rankings outliers. JT is at 1, duh. But then we are going to get spicy because, Dave, Saquon Barkley is back. Baby! After finishing as the RB1 in week 1, we have him ranked as the RB2 heading into week 2.
A guy you were absolutely moonwalking around your living room if you drafted in the second round, much like fellow second round draft pick. Say that a few times. DeAndre Swift. I was not Swift with that line read. But he's ranked as our RB8. It looks like he's explosive as ever, Joe. I loved what I saw. And we think Carson Wentz is going to put up points with the Commanders, much like he did last week, leaving Swift with plenty of opportunities to get receptions. What we love in fantasy. Then we're going to round out our top 10 with a couple of workhorse backs, Joe. Old reliables. Nick Chubb and Uncle Lenny coming in at RB9 and RB10.
It's always good to lean on the vets, Dave. Always good to lean on the vets. Now, here we go. We have a 60-second RotoBaller recap coming for you right now. Here are some RotoBaller rankings that stuck out to us heading into week 2. At quarterback, we were saying right along the usual suspects, Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, and Herbert. We're saying Jalen Hurts. He jumps into the top 5 as a fantasy QB this week.
But on the flip side, the Bengals O-line is causing Joe Burrow to fall back down to our rankings at QB 10. Now at tight ends, Andrews, Kelsey, Pitts, Waller have a new peer in the top 5, and what do you know? It's another Eagle, Dallas Goedert.
And despite only having 2 targets last week, we were saying do not bench Dawson Knox just yet. We think that he catches a tutty in week 2. And, of course, at wide receiver, Devontae Adams clocks in as wide receiver 3. New faces, A.J. Brown is our wide receiver 6. And the Mikes, Mr. Pittman at wide receiver 8. Mike Evans at wide receiver 9.
And finally, at running back, we have JT. And wait a minute, who is this? Saquon Barkley at RB2. What year is it, Joe? It doesn't matter because Saquon found a time machine. And Swift, Nick Chubb, and Uncle Lenny all inside the top 10 this week. Now, to see all of our rankings, follow us here and head over to rotoballer.com.